Welcome to the Put On Waivers Media Group, home of the Put On Raiders podcast and the Student Body Right podcast. This is your place for the best breakdowns and the best insight for those who fight on and bleed silver and black. Now, here are your hosts, Dwayne Douglas and Ryan Holmes.
And welcome, everybody, to the glorious episode of the Student Body Right USC podcast. I'm your host, Dwayne Douglas, along with my co-host, Coach B, and we are podcasting off the beautiful shores of the Pacific Ocean. Beautiful day out here in Southern California. PORSPR is my Twitter handle, and Coach B is DVL.
Blue. BLUEDVL 21.
21. There you go. That's on the Twitter app. I messed it up. That's all right. I want to thank everybody for listening in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Los Gatos, California, Victor, Idaho, San Diego, California, a couple other cities in here, Emeryville, California. We got Frankfurt in here, Bahamas, listening and watching the show. Also got Hillsboro, Oregon, watching the Student Body Right USC podcast, and then we got Watts, not Watts, LA, Watts, Oklahoma. I know there was a Watts in Oklahoma. They're banging out there and Watts. Okay, I see you out there in Oklahoma. All right, so there's a lot of things going on in the college football world, and Coach B is here to kind of break it down with us as well. Before we get to the obvious, right? Before we get to the obvious conversation about, Dante Lynn. What are your thoughts about Florida State being excluded from the Final Four? And don't forget, we're also doing it on the space, so don't forget to unmute your mic on the space as well.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I kind of understood Florida. I called it number one, right? From the gate, I called it. I said, we were talking in Gridiron, coming to shameless plug, Gridiron Bullies, 8:30-ish on Eastern time, 5:30-ish on the West Coast time in the morning. But we were talking about it in the space, and I was like, when he went out, I said they were going to have to beat their next two opponents by 10 plus points convincingly without the starting quarterback, right? To not be left out. They didn't do that. Florida was by 9 points, last second cheap touchdown. This Louisville game was horrendous offensively. I understood it. I didn't like it, but I understand it. Is it fair? No, but I understand it. There were Alabama, Texas getting in. That's kind of what was going to happen, right? And we all, I think everybody understood that. Me, my guy Chef, my guy T. Smith, we were all kind of talking about like, hey, Florida State's not getting in. They're not getting in unless they win convincingly. And if they don't, this is kind of what we're left with. Now, here's the thing. I didn't think the committee was going to do it. I knew it should have been done. I didn't think they really, really were going to pull the trigger because it's the hardest thing for them to do. The harder thing for them to do is keep Florida State out. You have to answer more questions by keeping Florida State out than by putting them in, right? Because it's easy to put them in, undefeated. You know what I mean? It's easy. Put them in. You don't have to answer no questions with them. Mm-hmm. But keeping them out and putting 2 one-loss teams in over them is really that's the harder thing to do. I didn't think they were going to do it. They did it. I think we end up with the best 4 teams in the country. At the end of the day, you without your quarterback does not make you one of the best 4 teams in the country. You have a great defense. You might have great special teams, but you don't have a great offense, and that's part of the team.
And this is the reason why I like Coach B, because we can go back and forth, and I don't agree with him. I agree that I thought it was going to happen. I agree with Florida State being left out in my mind because I feel like let me just give them the opportunity to see during this time period if they can work it out to maybe become more formidable offensively to see what it looks like. I think this was a year where the SEC was down. Georgia played. I mean, you cannot play a more cupcake schedule than what Georgia played. They weren't a big time team. I think now if I'm USC, because it's a USC podcast, any game with Notre Dame, any game out of conference with a big time opponent like the LSU game this year, coming up this year, I would never play it again because those games don't count towards anything. So why am I gonna put myself in jeopardy of being knocked out of the college football playoff? I know it's 12 teams, not 4, but if the results don't count and we're just gonna do like figure skating stuff like that, like kind of like what they saw on ESPN today, which I thought was interesting. Like if they're gonna do that, then I get why you leave Florida State out. I understand what they're trying to do, but I think in a year where this is not even a big time year for for the SEC conference, this was a perfect year to leave them out.
I would say that the results do count, right? I would say the results do count because here's the thing: we can't forget when they beat LSU, they beat them with Jordan Travis. When they beat all these other teams, they beat them with Jordan Travis. They don't have now Jordan Travis. Jordan Travis was a catalyst to them winning those football games. So now they don't have Jordan Travis. So now that's a big hurt. That would be like, I wouldn't be mad. Well, I'm not gonna lie. I probably would be mad, but I would get over it and understand. If we didn't have Caleb, I don't want to walk into a 14 playoff without Caleb Williams.
Oh no,
I don't want to do
it. No, I disagree. You have to take your shot. You gotta take a shot.
No, I'm not saying we don't take our shot. I'm saying that if
you would feel bad about it,
if you're telling me what do our chances look like, if you're asking me without Caleb Williams, are we one of the 4 best teams in the country? Without that guy, if we're one of the 4 best teams in the country, if you're saying that, then if you're saying are we one of the 4 best teams in the country, I say no. I say no, not without Caleb Williams. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
So I sit back and I say, okay, so now again, as a fan, I'll be like, no, but I still want our guys in there. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it was but on a objective scene, I'm saying no. We're gonna get rolled. And I think so. Here's the thing too. I think the part of the problem is that people keep saying, and I wrestle with this, right? The whole TCU situation. TCU getting rolled. They got to the championship game, right? TCU also played with a backup quarterback since week 2.
That's a different. That's way different.
It's a different scenario, right?
Different,
but then people bring up Ohio State when we're down to their 3rd string quarterback. But guess what Ohio State went and did in their Big Ten championship game? They went and beat them. They showed that they can win against an inferior opponent, and they beat them 59-0. Showed that we deserve to be here, even if we don't have our starter.
I just want to say one thing real quick for those who are listening to this show on Twitter. We are recording the Student Body Right USC podcast. Thank you for joining us. We will answer questions later. Right now, it's going to be just like a regular show, and we're going to put it in a space so people can hear it, and then record it later on Twitter. They can listen to it that way. And then if you want questions at the end, feel free to pop in questions as far as that goes. Go ahead, Coach.
But I mean, like, so to me, I'm looking at a squad and saying, look, they're great defensively, right? But they struggle offensively, and they struggle mightily with a Florida team that admittedly had a bad defense, was playing with their backup quarterback, right? Then they said, okay, that's a rivalry game. All right, cool, all well and good. So that's the only game we got to see your guy who's on the committee supposed to put in the playoff. No, they got. Do I like it? No, but did they get it right? Yes, because the 4 best teams are now in the playoff. The 4 best teams going forward at full strength. Because if you ask me if Florida State can beat Texas full strength, no. If you ask me if on a neutral field, are they beating Bama with Bama at full strength and they're not at full strength? No.
I just don't want. I mean, for me in the future, I don't want to go with the caveat of injury, because then what if you happen to have a defensive lineman who has 17 sacks on the season? And then we're like, oh, he gets hurt in the chip. He gets hurt in the last game of the year, right? Last regular season game of the year. Then we're like, oh, the defense isn't the same. Should we put that caveat in? I would have. I mean, to me, I think, and then we're going to some USC stuff after this. I would have just, to me, we are. If anybody can blame anybody, we can blame Auburn for this, because if Auburn just did their job, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Very true.
Very true. Playing the worst
Very true.
defensive thing I've ever seen in my entire life. But we'll see. We'll see what happens in the future. They want it's TV. They want to get the best game. I would have liked to see the challenge of Florida State in there, and I think this was the perfect year to leave the SEC out of it. As far as that goes. So let's go to the choice that USC made. Of course, they made it at halftime of the Pac-12 championship game. Of course, they did that. So Dan Lin is the new defensive coordinator for USC. What are your thoughts about that? I already had an instant reaction show. What would your thoughts be about them making that move?
I'm not happy about it. I don't think it was the right. I don't like the process, right? All the reports said Lincoln didn't want to give Jim Leonard his staff. People are looking at the numbers and saying, hey, well, he had a good defense last year. I'm always of the mindset of this guy makes me nervous because I felt like their best game was against us. I saw them get throttled right after that. I saw them not play good games. I saw them play good games against bad offenses. So to me, a good defense is not what shows up against a bad offense. Case in point. People always tell me, oh, look at the Chargers defense. They had a good game. No, they didn't. We played a bad offense in the Patriots. It was a terrible offense. It doesn't tell me you have good defense. A good defense shows up against good offenses. That would be like, so to me,
do they
you should. You absolutely should.
I mean,
defense.
Michigan's a good defense. TCU throttled them last year. Like, I mean, does it always have? Do they always show up in that moment?
Well, did TCU throttle them last year, or did the quarterback throw 2 pick sixes, or did they go up and down the field? They did they? There's things you can say. Okay? So you're saying, well, what I'm saying is more often than not they're gonna show up. I didn't feel like that defense showed up more often than not. You can't give me the Utah game that Utah's offense is bad. You can't get I just didn't see where they were that much head and shoulders where we shouldn't have gave Jim Leonard his full control over his staff. I understand it. I just don't. I get it. I don't understand it. I guess if that makes sense.
Can I get one rebuttal on
Go ahead.
on Jim Leonard? Who is going after Jim Leonard right now, though? Like, if nobody, we like Jim Leonard, but like if other people aren't like actively pursuing him, because I think for him, he wants to really go to the National Football League. I think it's pretty. I think that's what the people are saying. That he wants to go to the National Football League, but you can't. To your point, yes, you can't keep a bunch of people who he may not want, and we have to wait and see if D'Anton Lynn gets his opportunity to get his staff in. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know if that's we don't know if that's going to be the case. So and we won't know that until that. I will say that the negatives for D'Anton Lynn is this: 1 year, and it was at UCLA, and if you want to say if you want to throw the schedule in there, you can throw the schedule in there. I think my part would be a lot of experience, NFL background where, like, with the Ravens, with the Texans, with the Jets. His father was a coach of your team, right? The Chargers.
Don't remind me.
The Chargers. His record's better than the guy they got now. But like, yeah, I know. But yeah, like he wasn't an amazing head coach. But I'm just saying, like, he's been there for. So you only can play who's on the schedule. I think from watching that on the tape, they tackled and rallied to the football much better than any team that that obviously they have. I think Lincoln Riley also went out of his scope of like his whole his little clique, if you will. So that was big too. I think the one guy who really they were after in this process too was the defensive coordinator from Nebraska, because like all of a sudden out of nowhere he got that raise to not
Yeah,
leave.
yeah.
That was real
Yeah.
curious that he got the raise the same week that we're gonna
Immediately.
Immediately, right?
Immediately.
So I think he was in the. I mean, like it's hard to like go crazy about certain candidates because like if they someone like Manny Diaz, but if Manny Diaz doesn't want to leave, if he doesn't want to uproot his family and he's not available, and they have a good working relationship with the head coach of Penn State, he's not going to bounce. So I think it was a perfect kind of storm because it was close by in proximity. You just played him. He's young. He has you can sell the recruits on getting to National Football League. He knows what he's doing. And so, but the risk is the 1 year part of it, and we'll see. He wants to have bigger people up front. We'll see if they can do that. There are people in the transfer portal.
My fear is, and this might be my PTSD as a Charger fan.
Yes.
He reminds me of Staley. That's my fear. He had 1 year with a guy that was great. He had a lot too. Guy that was great. He was able to build around, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now what do you do the rest of the time? Because Staley had the same thing. Staley had 1 year, and then he got a better job. And all of a sudden, it's too much. And SC pressure is not there.
Mm-hmm.
Our pressure is way different than their pressure.
No, house money being your point is house money being the head coach, being DC at UCLA, which does make sense.
And
I respect that.
They had our schedule. You got to remember, our schedule last year is what kept Alex Grinch's job. Think about that. They flipped our schedule, right? So they had the same schedule we had last year, and we had the schedule they had last year, this year. So they had Washington and Oregon on their plate. They didn't have them this year.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have Washington and Oregon last year.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think about it, they flipped the schedule, and that kept Alex Grinch his job.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was really an overrated. It was inflated because of who we played. So to me, I'm sitting looking like, okay, did he actually do a great job? Or did he not just see better teams?
Results. I just want to look over something real quick. 2003 schedule for let's see here for UCLA. I do think too, though, that I think the one thing that I would also put into as far as a caveat for him on the positive front, in my mind, would be they were all-time horrible on offense.
Yes.
So that's a very tough spot to be if you're for a defensive coordinator. Like you're going to be put in some spots where it's going to be hard to function like just to be real, like, you know what I mean? Because you're going to you're talking about multiple 3 and outs, you're talking about turnovers, right. You're talking about, right. Like so those things are as well. So but I think I always have to take a wait and see attitude where you see with Coach Lynn. I think he's definitely, to me, he was on the list. I think it is if you're going to go to like a baseball analogy, I would say it's a double where he has potential to be more of a triple or a home run. I think, if everything goes right in 2 years, we're looking for a new defensive coordinator because he went and got another job being a head coach somewhere. I mean, I think if everything works out. If it doesn't work out, then we'll see. I would have liked to have somebody who was, like I said, I really wanted the Nebraska defensive coordinator, but like I said, you can't force somebody to leave.
No, that's absolutely true.
You can't have somebody force somebody to leave as well. And I do think the guy's an ascending coach, so we'll see as far as that goes. Targets in the transfer portal. So the transfer portal is open. There are some people there who are ready to go, or they're taking their pitches, trying to see what deals they can get. It is announced that not announced, but like, that Lincoln Riley took a plane ride out to Kansas. You're not going to Manhattan. You're not going to Manhattan, Kansas, unless you're going to get a quarterback. So
I don't know why we're going to look at Will Howard. I don't get it. That's not what at all.
So I will. So again, we'll rebuttal that one. So what is your, like, who would be the quarterback who's in the transfer portal? Who you would like to see? There's
not one.
There's not one. So
There's
you want to
not one.
ride?
There's-
So ride with Miller.
Let him and Malachi
Malachi.
battle it. Let him and Malachi battle it out. Now you got Cal McCord, no. You got Dante Moore, no. Cam Ward, no. Riley Leonard, no.
Dylan Gabriel, no.
No, Dylan Gabriel. DJ, no, absolutely not. Brock.
Well, DJ
Vander,
got to go. I mean, there's no DJ's not on the list on the USC.
No,
list.
he's no. Yeah, I know that's what I'm saying. No, I'm just saying.
For USC,
list for quarterbacks, there's just nobody there. Don't do this. Like, just stay. You recruited guys, groom those guys, because this list is terrible.
I would say, do we know that? And I mean, with Caleb Williams saying he's not going to play, I don't
think that means anything.
Yeah, so which is fine. But like, do we know that like Malachi has been hurt? Do we know the extent of that injury? We'll never know that part.
No.
Only their staff know. And then you mentioned last podcast that he didn't even dress at some games, right?
Yeah.
So
he didn't dress the last 2 games.
Yeah, last 2 games. So I don't know if, as far as the injury goes, like, I mean, I expect when I go to the game, which is like 20 minutes from my house, the Holiday Bowl against Louisville, it's gonna be Miller. It's gonna be Miller time, and then it's gonna be an opportunity for him to either show Lincoln Riley or show another suitor, right. When a portal opens up to see what it is. But I can question Lincoln Riley on a lot of things. I'm not the quarterback part of it. I'm not gonna sweat because he's like he got Heisman trophies to show that part of it, but. The guy who I know Michigan is out there talking to a defensive lineman, first name Walter, out there in at Texas A&M. I know USC.
Oh, Walter Nolan.
Yeah, I know Walter USC. Nolan. I know USC is talking to that guy as well. So that's a situation where I would say, I'm more on the defensive line, offensive line part of it. I know USC needs a center. They do need some interior defensive linemen as well, and then. I think the big thing is for USC is too, like, how, like, do they, like, who's staying? Like, I mean, as far as Romello Height, like he was
right.
Him and Muhammad were really good pass rushers when they were given the opportunity to actually rush the passer. And then toward the end of the season, of course, we saw them dropping in coverage like crazy.
Well, I think that's the one thing that Lynn will help us out with, though, right? He doesn't do that.
Yeah,
you saw Latu rush. His guys rush the passer.
Never in coverage. Never in coverage.
You got everybody do their job. So that I can say. I think we need more help from the linebacker position, and the DB in the DB room. That's just a fact. I think that Kalen gave the little cryptic thing out there. We don't know if he's coming back or not.
What was his tweet?
He did say, "I'm not finished. We're not. I don't believe we're not." He gave that Marcus Peters thing. We're not done yet.
We're not done yet.
But
okay.
He didn't say. He still doesn't say anything. So I'm not gonna go. I'm holding on to that to be 50-50. But I think they're. And then I don't know if you've seen today, Marshawn declared for the draft today.
Which is fine. I expected. I expected that.
But when we lost Barlow to the portal, he left to the portal. So I mean, we're gonna see. Like I think we need, like you said, help up front, offensive line. I think that we need help in our linebacker room. We're losing Gentry. We're gonna lose some of them vets in the linebacker room. Shane Lee's gone. Gentry's gone. Shane. Did
hold on before you go on? The linebacking core. Did Eric Gentry announce he was transfer portal?
I think he's going to the league. I think he's done.
He's done.
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah, because he came from Arizona State. The portal.
It says junior transfer, so it says he's. I mean, I'm not sure. He might have eligibility left. So,
okay. I assumed he would be done.
I saw that Mason Cobb got the invitation to go to the Senior Bowl. He's definitely gonna go. Shane Lee, the same thing. Tackett Curtis is there. Freshman. Let me just I had it up where it said who had eligibility left, but I know Gentry has eligibility left, but he might go to the league though with that frame.
But his thing though, he's been hurt, so he may stay. Try to get a full healthy year.
Yeah.
Because up and down stock.
He just needs to put some weight on that kid.
That's it. That's it.
And like because like he is, and it's funny because like this is how I know. That's how you know favoritism was really in there when they played when USC had a situation with Alice Grinch, because literally every defensive metric was better when Eric Gentry was on the field.
Yeah.
Every single one.
Him and Rayshawn Davis.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's crazy.
Put them on the field
yes.
and let them go. You know what I want from linebackers? I want linebackers to look like real linebackers again.
Yes, exactly.
I don't want these linebackers that look like safeties. I want real linebackers.
Exactly.
No offense to Mason Cobb, no offense to Tucker Curtis, but they're not very big people.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Like they don't look like linebackers.
Yeah, 100%.
They look like undersized safeties.
Yes, I know.
Safeties.
And I do
they're not there.
Yeah, and I do think that like this guy wanted sleek. He wanted like he wanted a defense like he had at Washington State for no reason. And we're USC. We're not gonna do stuff like Washington State. Like we can't just stop. Just like but those days are over so far as that goes. So hopefully bigger and stronger is coming in. It should be interesting to see what happens as far as that goes. And I think that the experience you mentioned, the secondary, I think the experience he had, he was a honorable mention secondary when he played at Penn State. He and I when you come from the Ravens and you come from like a situation where he has an opportunity to improve the secondary a great deal, I'm sure that's going to be a big part of it as well. But up front is where it starts for SC. They got to get Bear Alexander some help. I think people like Benton and Bars probably sitting there saying I wish they had this guy. Obviously they just again this is all a year too late. I mean, and it's frustrating. Right. I mean, that's the part. I'm happy that they made the move, but it is a year too late as far as.
So the question I have too now is: is he going to pull Ken Norton with him
for the linebackers?
Yeah, because remember we had him before.
But does Ken? My question about Ken Norton is: does Ken Norton want to be the DC? Like, is he an opportunity? Does Ken Norton have an opportunity to be the DC at UCLA?
I'm sure he does. I'm sure he's the next up. I'm sure. Yeah. I mean, remember, I think at a point he was a DC for Pete Carroll for a little bit. I think his last few years in Seattle.
Before he moved on.
But but then he can come back to SC and really, you know what I mean, be our linebackers coach and really, because he can get the guys. He can get the linebackers. I'm looking for a guy.
Bumpers.
Tacklers. I need 55 again.
Yeah. Yep.
I need somebody who's worthy to wear that uniform again.
Yep. And that is something that 100%. That's 100% good point as far as that goes. We definitely need the Brian Cushion types, people who can cover, people who can come down and thump the run and make running backs not want to run the ball anymore. Like, I mean, those dudes literally would make running backs not run the ball no more. They'd be like, you can see them tapping out, getting the coach. Yeah. They do that all the time. They do that all the time. That's it all the time. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Let's see here as far as that goes. So we know Kalen. No word on Kalen. The running back is gone. Marshawn Lloyd is gone. Brendan Rice accepted his invitation to the Senior Bowl. Barlow's gone. Cobb got invited. He didn't do anything yet. So right now, currently, they're not going to go into the season with just, as far as running back goes, going with just Quentin Joyner. Obviously, some more troops are coming as far as offensive football goes. So we'll see. I know Jude Wolf left as well.
He left. Yeah,
he left as well. So obviously the depth chart you're looking at right now will not be the depth chart that when we go forward. And I'm the one guy I'm interested in is, does Dorian give it one more go? Does Mario give it one more go?
Mario doesn't have a he doesn't have a choice.
Yeah, he really can. He might go undrafted if he doesn't, because he has to come back. He has to have a good year where he holds on to the football, because that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing for him.
He has to come back and be in that Taj Washington mold, get in that spot, catch the ball, and just that's what he has to go. Mario knows the offense. That's the crazy part. He knows all of it.
That's why he was frustrating.
He can't catch the ball.
No, not consistently. And his decision making his game like awareness is so bad. Like it might, like when the video game comes out, his game awareness might be like at a 4 or 5. How many times late in the game did he catch a ball with the opportunity to go out of bounds to stop the clock and he runs up the field? I'm like, dude, I'm like, what are you doing, Mario? Like, it drives me.
And so that's the same thing.
Crazy.
He's having a problem with Raleigh. Raleigh's gone now.
Yeah,
he hit the portal, and I'm not surprised. It's not one of those kids I was surprised that was going to leave.
He was with his ability. It was either going to be a hit or it was going to be gone.
Well, Zach came and took his spot.
Who?
Let's just call it spade a spade. Zachariah Branch.
Oh yeah,
he came and took his spot.
Yeah,
there's no question about that. That was what he was supposed to do.
Yeah, exactly.
What Zachariah was doing was what he was supposed to do.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, and
there's no need for two of them. There's no need for two of them. You can't like they're gadget guys.
Yep.
Zach has to become now more of a receiver, but Raleigh, like, come on, man. Like you're undersized the whole time. You wanted to play running back. He would kill me at running back. Like, I'm like, bro, stop running sideways. Running sideways is making me miserable right now. I used to get so mad watching him in the game.
The Tulane game, especially. The Tulane game was tough.
God,
that was tough.
I almost lost my mind.
Yeah, where is he going? That was tough. But we'll see. And also, what nobody asked him today. Lincoln Riley spoke today. Tomorrow, Dan and Lynn will talk. Tomorrow, I don't think he coaches in the bowl game. I think he just kind of observe. I don't think he want. I mean, he just got here. He's like, I don't think he's implementing anything, but he's definitely on campus. He's in the gear. He's talking to people. He's taking pictures with the players and stuff like that, and post on social media. So we'll see what happens as well as far as that goes. Holiday Bowl against Louisville. Right now, SC is a half a point favorite in that game. We'll see if that changes. We'll see who's going to play in that game and not play in that game. Obviously, both teams. I mean, Louisville probably has some players who are either not whether they're going to the portal or whether or not they're going to the league. They might opt out of that game. So we'll see what happens there. But got plenty of time to preview that game. But any thoughts about SC and what they have to do in this portal to get things? If they came away with 3 players in this portal right now who are available, who would be the 3 guys who you would want them to come forward with?
Definitely Walter Nolan. Definitely him. Reed Carrico from Ohio State.
Okay.
Or Chris Paul Jr. from Ohio State, because he was a good tackle. He can thump. He can thump. I mean, not Ohio State, from Arkansas. I'm sorry, Arkansas. Chris Paul Jr. from Arkansas. He can thump. He's a thumper. And I'm gonna be honest. Like, I would love to go get another receiver. I think we're gonna need help.
A vet.
I think we're gonna need help in that receiver room. So I would look at that too. But I would even say somebody like a Julian Fleming from Ohio State.
Okay. I want to look at one thing about the defensive coordinator position that I wanted to see if it's listed. I don't have it listed. I don't want to have it listed. So let me see. So sure, let's go to Google real quick, because I know that this name popped up, and I think this is a name that you probably would like.
And so you talk about quarterbacks. Don't be surprised. And this is the one I would be. It wouldn't shock me. I wouldn't like it, but it wouldn't shock me if he gave us a hard look at Dante Moore. It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't shock me if he did that. Because here's the thing. Mobile, check. Can throw it a mile, check.
Mm-hmm.
Project, kind of like a project. He's a project.
Yeah.
This wouldn't surprise me.
I mean, he's definitely intriguing. So I definitely 100% say he's intriguing. I don't know. I think they want somebody who's ready for that, ready for the Big Ten, who they can play tomorrow. I think that would be the one thing I would say.
He can play tomorrow. He's had snaps he's had snaps under center. He can play, because here's the thing: nobody knows the offense. So anybody you bring in, I don't want a Will Howard. Will Howard didn't have to throw the ball at K-State. What do I want him to throw the ball for in that offense? I don't want him throwing the ball in our offense. I don't know what his arm looks like. That doesn't make me feel any better. Dante Moore, at least I know under Chip Kelly, he was throwing it. May not always look good, but who knows what's going on with Chip Kelly in that offense?
I mean,
I don't
not a whole lot. Not a whole lot. There was the name when the Raiders were. I mean, the Raiders. Sorry. This channel is Raiders and Trojans, so forgive me. I would say the Glenn Schumann of the co-defensive coordinator for Georgia. His name was in the mix. Would you have been more?
Yes, I would have been way more comfortable with him. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I would have been way more comfortable with him. Absolutely.
Okay.
Because you're recruiting, you're going to be able to recruit the South.
And
you can hold that, and you can hold that, and you can do something that we haven't been able to do is tell the recruits like that are going to Oregon because of defense. Hey, we got a guy because of defense.
Yeah,
this guy is a defensive guy.
And I would and he was defensive coordinator with Will Muschamp, and he also was the inside linebackers coach as well too. Right. So no, I remember that now. I wrote that note down when he was a candidate. But again, like I said, he probably sees a different path for himself. He doesn't want to move out. He probably doesn't want to move out. Maybe he doesn't want to move his family out here to Southern California. So you can't. I think some of these conversations were had, but then you have to find people who are probably maybe 3 or 4 candidates who are willing to come, and then you gotta do what you gotta do as far as picking the best person who is available at that moment. You have anything else on SC? Because then I want to give you opportunity to do a prediction of the Final Four if you think who you think.
Yeah, for sure. So for me, I got Bama and I got UW. To be honest, it's Bama and UW in the championship game, and I think it's hard for me to pick against Nick. I'm just gonna go out on a limb and just throw out and say I got UW.
Interesting.
No other reason than they have the most talented offense left in the top 4.
Okay.
And they got the guys who can do things off schedule. And the key is if Penix is he going to use his legs? That's the key to everything. Him being able to use it. The one thing that I said was going to happen is going to be Oregon is he's going to have to use his legs at least a little bit. And what did he do? He got out of the pocket. He got yards with his legs when things that broke down. Mm-hmm. He did that. They won the game. Mm-hmm. They got key first downs. He's going to have to do that in this playoff. He's going to do it against Texas, and if he sees Bama, he's going to have to do it against them too. Yep. But I think that his ability to their ability to now McMillan is healthy with McMillan, Polk, and Rome.
McMillan makes a difference. There's not even a question about that. Like you can't play that. You can't play those same kind of defenses where you're covering a Rome Aduzier and just block him off now. I think Washington wins. I think it's going to be I personally believe that the one thing that Michigan has an issue with, I think, is going to be a mobile quarterback. So when he runs, it's going to be it could be a problem. But I think Michigan is a better team than Alabama. So I think Washington. The same thing with Washington. But I think that Michigan is Washington, Michigan. I would say one thing about this, and I would say this because, and the reason why, what makes me feel a little bit better about the hiring of Dan Tinlin as our defensive coordinator is that Jen Cohen, our new AD, was the person who hired Kellen DeBoer, and his numbers against AP top 25. I think he's like 9-0 against. I mean, he is right. The dude when he especially when he has time to prepare. Like I give that dude props, man. Like he really is one of the top coaches. Right. They might have a hard time keeping him at Washington, because they're gonna have to have the alums just go ahead and just back up the truck for him, because
Right.
he is really a talented coach. That team never. I thought everybody. I mean, just think about it. They just won a game where against Oregon where they were 10-point dogs, and they pretty
Which is
much
crazy.
yeah. And where I mean, like in essence, you look at the team and they really kind of, I'm not saying they dominated, but they were pretty when they had to have
they
that
dominated the game.
and when they had to have that championship drive, they went 80 yards and just stuck it in the end zone. And like, I mean,
Well, that's what I said.
Yeah.
I was telling people they went 10 plays, 80 yards, but the key is no penalties. They weren't aided. They didn't have no penalties. They went 10 plays, 80 yards, and punched them in the face.
Yeah.
That's just a different animal.
Yep. 100%.
They did what they wanted to do and how they wanted to do it.
Yep, no question about it. I respect Washington so much more. I mean, I respect them anyway, but after that game, I'm like, that drive and like, you know, Oregon's rated one of the best defensive teams in football. But when you got to have a score, those boys from Washington came through. So we'll see if the Pac-12 in the last year can get a championship out of Washington as well. So. All right. As always, fight on. I want to thank everybody for who's in there. We're gonna try to do, you know, kind of this little mix here where we have a spaces going and go. I think the one thing that is not grown with USC is there's presence on like the spaces. Like the spaces are not like it's really lacking. Right. I mean, you get the tweets a lot, but it's not a lot of spaces for it, so we'll have some spaces for SC fans as well too, and we'll keep riding with this as well. So, all right, Coach B, thank you for joining us, man. Take care, man. Yes, and we'll see everybody next time on the Student Body Right USC podcast. Deuces.
Right on.